This is the brand new Audi RS Q8. A lot of the drivetrain you will recognise if you think of the figures from the brand new RS6, which we've already done a video on, was unveiled a couple of months ago, I think now. So under the bonnet we have a 4-litre turbocharged V8 engine putting out 600 PS, which is 592 brake horsepower, and 800 Newton meters of torque, which is 590 pounds-foot of torque, which is ample, as I think you'll agree. That means 0 to 60 miles an hour, or 0 to 62 miles an hour for this, which, bearing in mind it weighs 2.3 tonnes, is 3.8 seconds. It'll go on to do 305 kilometres an hour, which is 189 miles an hour. All very impressive. We'll come back to a bit more of the technicalities in a bit. Let's talk about some of the styling. Well, headlights here, which are very cool when they turn off and on. We have this new face for Audi, which this has got the optional carbon fibre pack, so we've got this surround here for the massive grille because it does need to get an awful lot of air into that engine to cool it. You can see the little vents here, which apparently actually not only the Sport Quattro, which you recognise them from, but also if you look further back to Auto Unions, you'll see slots like that there, which is where the designers got some of the ideas from. As I say, carbon pack, but they are doing away with a lot of the sort of the chrome and silver on the RS products to give it a more aggressive look overall. Let's walk over around here, down this side here. Now, arches, metalwork here, exactly the same, but they have obviously increased it slightly here, just to give a little bit more width, because we have some truly enormous wheels on this car, 23 inches, and they weigh 43 kilos each. Brakes obviously need big brakes to stop this car, so steel's a standard, 10 piston calipers though, but if you opt for the carbon fibre options, then you'll actually save 12 kilos, not overall, but per wheel, which is pretty extraordinary. They also measure 440 millimetres in diameter. Let's talk about some of the suspension under here as well. We've got air suspension as standard, and the ride height can go from standard, can go either down by 40 millimetres or up by 60 millimetres, and that I think probably gives you a clue to the sort of, I suppose, the character of this car, and inevitably where it sits within the range and against other vehicles. Principally, perhaps you might be thinking, well, Lamborghini Urus, anyone? And Porsche Cayenne obviously is also in this group. They want this car, I think, to have a greater breadth of ability than those. So they want to keep all the comfort element in there, as well as having the ability on track and road. And I suppose that's one of the things where these cars, I struggle with them a bit. I mean, this is the antithesis of something like the Alpine A110, which I and plenty of other people have waxed lyrical about because they are lightweight and wonderful. But there is equally something quite impressive about a car like this that can potentially go anywhere and almost do anything. These tyres, Continental Sport Contact 6 is developed for this car, and the idea of those tyres, I mean, that's extraordinary in itself, being able to go and tackle dunes in Dubai, which they have done. They've gone and found effectively the biggest dune out there that everyone uses as a test bed, and driven up that, and then go and drive on the Nordschleife however many days later it would take you to get there. Anyway, moving down here a bit. Interior, all very swish, as you'd expect from Audi. RS button on the steering wheel, so you can go in RS1 or RS2 mode. RS2 mode, they're configurable, so they've got rid of the standalone individual in the MMI, but now you've got these RS modes, and if you press RS2, then that gets it to Sport ESP, which is pretty good by the touch of a button. If you want to turn it all the way off, because obviously why wouldn't you want to slide 2.3 tonnes around, then you need to still press the button down there in the centre. Lots more Alcantara seats as well, also now massage and vented, as well as being sporty. So moving down the side here, obviously being Q8, we've got this rear roofline, which again, they've actually, you might think this is odd, but go back and look at a Sport Quattro, and yes, this rear pillar here does actually ape it a little bit. The 48 volt system in the car, which is obviously mild hybrid in there as well, so that aids the stop start and the gliding function of the car, but also stands with the electronic anti-roll bars in the car, which again gives this car that breadth that they're looking for in terms of comfort at one end and giving that individual wheel control if you sort of effectively delete the anti-roll bars completely and then turn it all the way on, so you've got very stiff anti-roll bars for when it's working on track. This also has rear wheel steer, the boon of engineers all over the world trying to make heavy cars feel lighter, and that works in tandem with the steering, the dynamic steering, to, well, hopefully make it much more sporty. So there we are. Should sound pretty good. Tailpipes at the rear, big ovals. You can have them black like on this car, which is the sport option. And, oh yes, one final sport quattro. They keep referencing the sport quattro, and you sort of think, well, that was kind of rallying there. Maybe this is the, might be a stretch too far. But the black panel on the rear, also taken from the sport quattro. So there you have it. That is the Audi RS Q8 in a very bright green. Let us know what you think about it in the comments below. I just don't know. But I kind of sort of want to drive one, I think.